Hi everyone and welcome. This is Lori of More Art from the Heart. This is a tutorial to show you how to put together a tin with this type of look to it. On your right is one of the kits that I sell in my Art Fire store with the embellishments, the papers, the paints, and the tin, and a couple extra pieces in it. This is what you can create with this particular tin kit. There are different tin kits with different embellishments, so that if you go to the Art Fire store, please make sure you look at the pictures and the descriptions of what's on it so that you know that you're getting the kit that you'd like, because they are similar. Like this one has a larger spoon than this one here. Also the face of the clock. There are different, like I said, embellishments in each kit. So please make sure that you double check the kit that you're purchasing has the items in it that you would like to get. They are limited number of kits until I can receive some more of these tins and some of the more of the goodies to put on them. They're going to be limited, and they're going to come in a couple different sizes. This one here is 3.5 by 5.5. See the size of it there. We have a smaller tin kit. This is like 2.5 by I believe 3.5. Nope, almost 4. So it's almost 3 by 4. And I'm also going to be demonstrating on one of those too. So this will be the kit, and this is what we're going to make it look like when we're done. These are not glued on yet, so that I could show you some of the things we did to the pieces and the way that the lid looks. And this is the finish that we are going to be working on today. This can be used on lots of different types of products to get this look, but I wanted to show you how to achieve this one. I'll set this up here. I move our tin and paints. You also get the 2 sheets of paper with it. Got some little beads. Let me dump it in here so that I have those rolling all over my table. You get your 2 sheets of paper. Each little kit comes with different sheets that are kind of to match the finish. Some of the other things that you'll need to put this together are white gesso, black gesso, glue of some kind. I like my liquid glue, crackle for crackling the paint. For the gold accents on it, I used my Rub and Buff. This little palette like this is sometimes carried in my Art Fire store. I'm out at the moment, but we'll be getting some more in, so make sure you check that out. You could use a gold metallic type paint. You could even use your 10 Second Studio Verde brass paint and get the same look. I think the Rub and Buff for me worked the best. I liked that unlike paint, it doesn't go on real solid. You can go over something. Let me show you on this. You can go over something and highlight little areas of it without completely coating or painting it. So I recommend a Rub and Buff. Alrighty, so we've got several processes to get there to what we were doing. You first are going to take your tin. You're going to completely paint it with the black gesso. Now I use the gesso instead of paint because I think the gesso adheres better to the tin. And of course we're going to put a sealer over this in a minute anyway, but I wanted you to know why I used it instead of paint. You also do the inside lip edge here. I'm only papering the bottom and the insides of the lids, so I've only gone around the rims. Your choice if you'd like to paper on the inside of them. Alright, so then the next step after the black gesso was completely dry was to take my crackle and put the crackle on. And I've actually put it on completely smooth, and it's already starting to pull in different areas. You want to get it to a sticky consistency, and then we want to go over with our paint. You're going to take your gesso and you're going to mix 3 parts gesso to 1 part paint. In my container I have about 3 tablespoons of white gesso to about 1 tablespoon of the paint. This will help mute it down. Again, I think the gesso helps also stick better to the tin. So we're going to start first with our lighter color. This was the basil green that comes in that kit. Not all kits will have paint with them, so you need to check that out too, because some people will already have their paints and won't need paint. So I didn't include it in all of the kits. Now as you're going over this, you want to take and just go in areas. You're not going to completely cover it. You're going to want to have the different colors kind of show through. I do the sides of it. And I like using the brush instead of using like a sponge brush, because I like the brush strokes in it. But that's totally your choice if you would rather use a sponge brush. Okay, so we're going to let that sit there and crackle. Remember, we have let our crackle get to a tacky consistency, and that's what helps this paint crackle. You don't really want to let it completely dry, and you don't want to do it when it's kind of liquidy. So when you kind of stick your finger in it and it kind of sticks to it, you know that it's just about right. And we're just going to go over, like I said, little different areas of our tin. There we go. And I don't do the inside other than the black gesso, because if you start getting it too thick in there, it makes it hard for the lid. Alright, so then we're going to go back over with the blue, and as you can see, it's already starting to crack. You see that? So we want to get our blue in there. I leave parts of the black exposed. I still like the look of the black, even though the black's going to come through on the paint. I still like the look of the black coming in there. This patina look is kind of an old-fashioned look. I think it kind of came from a color that was very popular probably back in the 40s and 50s. And using it in this way kind of makes it look as though you've got an object that has lots of layers of paint on them, and it's kind of come off over the years. You do kind of want to go back over just slightly some of that lighter colored green that you've got on there. There you go. We're going to let that sit, and it's already starting to crack pretty good. And then we want to get some more here on the lid. Kind of be a little messy with it. There's a spot on the tin that the paint had come off, so we're going to cover that up. The other tin video that I have, I did this same process with it, only I actually did it in about 2 layers. So after this is done and covered with crackle again, then it was coated one more time. So if you prefer that thickness of a look, go back and refer to that video. I should have a link down below for it, if you'd like to have it kind of a really thick look to it. Alrighty, and you can see here, get the light just right, how we are cracking really nicely there. I like a little bit more paint right there. So you just kind of keep going back over it until you've got just the look that you would like. I don't think there's really a total wrong or right way to do this. It's what you prefer. And if you get done with it and you go, not crazy about that look, wish I had more blue on it, I wish I had more of the tan on it, or greenish light green, You can go completely back over this with your black gesso and start over. You will get that thicker look to it like the other tin had, but it's kind of a nice forgiving method if you aren't caring for the way it looks. You have to re-crackle it again, of course. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking this is about the way I like that. Maybe just a little bit more of that, a little bit more black showing here then. Because this is like the bottom of your object, and so you probably wouldn't have as much worn away at the very bottom. There you go. Now crackle works like a sealer for me. You could use other mediums to seal this, but you've got the crackle, so that's what I use since the crackle seemed to work for me. I then coated. You set this aside and let it completely dry. I'll get my fingers on it there. You want to let it completely dry, and then you just basically take a sponge brush and go directly over the dried surface, and you have kind of a sealer on here. See how it's a little shiny? Now it's not going to scratch off. Where it was, well, of course, if you took something very sharp, I'm sure you could scratch it back off, but you're not going to damage it so much as if you were to take it before you use the crackle for a sealer. You would be able to peel the paint back off somewhat. So there we go with that. That's the look you're trying to get. The next step, while those ones are drying, we're going to go to the next step here. This is where I used my rub and buff. Like I said, you can mix up your metallic type gold paints to get the same look. You just want to put it on just as much with a dry brush as you possibly can. I just use my finger and rub in there. And again, you are just kind of highlighting the edges a little bit, maybe here and there on the tin. Kind of rub it in. And I kind of keep everything going in the same brush stroke direction. Hopefully that'll show up there. Let me turn my light a little bit here. It's so shiny, I didn't want to get the light in there too much. But I just kind of just rub over any little raised area and at the corners. It highlights and brings out the colors really nicely when you do this. Also the crackle. You'll be surprised how the other will look a little dull. Kind of a more chalk paint look. And then when you put the crackle on, then it just brings out a lot more of the colors. I'm going to do a little of that on the bottom. Kind of already done that in a few places on here, so I don't want to put too much more. You can put it on this rim here as long as you keep this as flat as possible, so that your lid will still go on and come off. Alrighty, so this is good at this point to go ahead and add our embellishments. Okay, in your kit you're going to find a sheer type of flower. And I'm going to show you how fun these are to actually paint and do up. So we'll set that aside for a moment. It has a little stamen with a little pearl kind of center on it, and basically pull it apart. Just go ahead and pull it apart, and then you have your two sets of petals. And as you can see right through these. I like this sheer look on these. Let me show you once again what we're going to come up with here at the end. And as you can see, you can kind of see through the edges of the petals. So you're not going to coat this completely really thick. And I just used my black gesso. And it kind of helps stiffen it up and stuff. And you just want to kind of pull the paint over in different areas. And kind of get the tips a bit more. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually do that to both of your petals. Set this one over here to dry because you want to let this dry a little bit in between your coats of paint. I don't recommend using a heat gun on these. They are kind of a sheer material and it will just kind of shrivel up. Of course, that one might be another fun look. So you're going to end up with the two of them like this. I've just splattered on with the paintbrush a little bit of each color. Of the mossy green and the jade color in there, and then you're going to layer them together after they're dry because this makes it nice and stiff. Okay, you're going to take that stamen, let me find my scissors here, and you could run this back through and put that on there if you'd like. I did include a larger pearl in your kit. It's going to take off on me here. So what I did is I just actually took and cut these. You're going to save that for something else, stick it in another project or find a place on this one to do it. You're going to use your glue. Let's get these together. There we go. And then a little bit of glue right in the center. I don't use hot glue on these type of flowers either. Same reason, it's going to end up kind of melting it if you do. And just place these around with the edges into the center. And come down here so you can see what I'm doing. Just kind of clump them together in there. Just adds back to the look of them. Didn't have to be in perfect order either. And then you've got your pearl for the center. These do have a hole in them, so I always try to line it up so you can't really see the hole. I'll hold that for a second, and voila, we have a beautiful flower that's going to coordinate and match. The other objects in the kit, I like to keep some stuff to the back of it in black so that they stand out more. This one you actually, they're in silver, they're in gold, they're in kind of a brass color. Well, what I did here is I actually first went in and put a little of the blue and a little bit of that greenish blue, dabbed it on here and there, let that dry. Then I went back over with my black and then back over with a little bit of the Rub and Buff just to bring it out, to highlight it, to bring out the colors in the filigree. I'm just going to glue these kind of objects directly down into place. The button that you get there, I took a pair of wire cutters and snipped off the back of them. I didn't care for it standing up really tall on there, so you don't have to do that if you want to have the button stand up taller. Let's see if I can get that in the light. The button is actually kind of a blue and gold. No, blue and silver, sorry. And by painting it black and then going back over and using the Rub and Buff, and then all of my objects, just before I put them on here, I coated them with a crackle. I liked that it kind of gave it a shiny finish. So if you don't like the shiny finish, then you could just leave off the crackle, but it kind of sealed it. Now you can take your key and paint both sides of your key. If you, before you begin this process, if you want to figure out how it's going to look, how it's going to crackle on there, so then you can take, let the black dry, and then try some of your different paints. Try some of your blue on there, and then your green. Let that dry a little bit, and or I'm sorry, do your black, do your crackle, do your paint, and you can see how that looks that way. I kind of like the way I did this one here. The crackle followed the brush strokes. Actually almost looks like a piece of wood that way on here. And then I run the black again back down on the sides and then there, so that you can You have an extra key. You can play around that way and see how you like it. You can put that key in the arrangement if you wanted to. Again, you're going to take the little white paper flowers that are in here. You're going to paint one black, then you're going to highlight it with your gold. So we can see in the back here, your gold. And then you're going to paint the other one just with the blue and then a little bit of the green, and then there's a little pearl to add in that. I think having the background, I tried both ways. I tried having the flower completely in black and gold, and that didn't stand out enough for me. I tried making both sets of petals in the two lighter colors, and I just thought it really needed that background color to make them pop. Again, those are been then coated with the Rub and Buff. And of course, we've got our flower here. There will be pictures online in the Artfire store for you to be able to see how to do the placement. If you like the way I placed it, of course, you're more than welcome to place them just like you'd like. Now, the beads are individual. I found that trying to glue them on, they rolled everywhere. I couldn't place them very well. I liked them put together, so I actually glued them together so that when I go to place them on here, run a little bead of glue under them, they stay in place really well. You've got different little clock faces. I think some are even like a little nautical looking ones. Again, painted it black. Added just a little bit of the blue around the edge so that it's going to coordinate with what we've got down here. And then when you take that Rub and Buff and you lightly go over, you will notice all your numbers or the letters or whatever's on this dial that you have in your kit will pop out. To make it stand out, I then did the hand in your greens and golds. Some of them have corner pieces. Do the same treatment to the corner pieces. I kept a lot of anything that was at the background in the dark colors because you can see how it pops a lot more when you do. So another row of those beads. This can be set right in the center here. You can also maybe type out a cute sentiment, a stamp if you like, on maybe a piece of cardstock and place them behind here. So you can personalize it a bit more if you'd like to. I gave you this option here like this so that you would have something to fill it if you liked it that way. It's a little metal lock. You got your button. Some of these have little forks, some have little spoons, some have other little filaments that go across there, filigrees, sorry. This just happened to be what's in this particular kit. So there you go. This is what you're going to get. You're going to take your papers, you're going to cut them to fit the inside of your tin. You're going to obviously glue them down. So I'm going to use this for the bottom of the tin, and the other one for the top. And then I'm going to rub and buff along inside here, but I won't do that right now on camera. Let me move this aside. Just going to see how these other ones, oops, they're not quite dry. We can't mess with the other ones just yet. But anyway, this goes in the lid. So I've got the two different papers. I also discovered, and I carry a few of these in my Artfire store. This is the Tim Holtz Found Relative Pack. Back up a little bit here. These actually fit really nicely in these large tins. So can you imagine what a wonderful little mini album these would make to go inside this tin, or just keeping them inside the tin? I thought that was a really neat idea to do with them. And so those are also for sale in my Artfire store. Let's see, what else can we show you here? I think we have got it. I've bumped this. I haven't glued any of that down yet, so I've bumped it here. But anyway, you can get a look at what each of the kits are, and in the Artfire store from the link down below. I hope you enjoyed this. I will look forward to your response on this, whether you liked it or not, or if you have any questions that I did not answer in this video. Thank you very much for coming by and peeking in on me again. Goodbye, everyone.